I want to give you a tip that can save you a boatload of money. It has to do with liens. So you've got a medical malpractice or a personal injury claim. Let's say that there's a settlement for $1 million. Well, what happens to your money? There's a legal fee. The attorney will get reimbursed for case expenses, but there's a problem because there could be a lien against your case by an entity that pays your medical bills. So in most cases, it's Medicaid or Medicare that has a federal lien. That means a federal law gives them a right to recover from your money, and it could be a lot. We've had cases where it could be $500,000 or $600,000. And if you have to pay all that money back, what are you left with? Not much. But there's a secret to beating these liens. So you have a case. You send a notice as required by law to Medicaid, which in New York is run by the Department of Social Services. Medicare is run by the Centers for Medicare Services. You notify them of your lawsuit. Medicare will send you a letter called the conditional payment amount. And this means conditionally, here's the amount that their lien is going to be. And they'll send you that letter within 65 days of your initial request for conditional payment amount. Then what do? Your case settles. Then you send what's called a demand letter to the Centers for Medicare Services, and they give you a final amount. And that final amount has to be paid within 60 days or they will charge you interest. Here's how the secret that you're gonna beat these liens. Insider tip. A bunch of the claims that they'll list for your medical care, they'll have an itemized list. This date, this place, this time, the treatment that you received. Much of that will be unrelated to the injuries that you have in your case. Unrelated. That means that they can't claim a lien for medical treatment that is unrelated to your injuries. We had a recent case where a woman had about $2 million of medical bills for cancer-related treatment. So the lien was enormous, and Medicare wanted their money back. And so what did? We went to the treating oncologist and we asked him, would our client have still had the same medical treatment if the diagnosis had been made when it should have been made, about a year earlier? And he said, yeah, she would have had surgery, she would have had chemotherapy, she would have had radiation. May not have been for as long as she had, but still, she would have needed those things even with an earlier diagnosis. So what does that mean? That means that the claim of Medicare for all these medical bills went out the window. Our client still would have needed the medical treatment no matter what. In that case, a lien that was really substantial, in fact, I think it was about $600,000 or close to it, was wiped out completely because we had the expert treating oncologist sign an affidavit that all of the medical treatment still would have been necessary even if the diagnosis had been made when it should have been made. That is the secret to beating a lien, that the care, treatment, and services still would have been necessary even with an earlier diagnosis, and get an affidavit from a treating physician to verify that. If you do that, in all likelihood, Medicare, Medicaid will agree that the lien does not apply, and that will save you a boatload of money. Little inside tip, when you bring a lawsuit, deal with the lien immediately. In New York, you have to notify the Department of Social Services of a Medicaid lien as soon as you file a lawsuit. So that's required by law. You can't avoid that. Medicare, you should notify them right away and start dealing with the lien. You shouldn't ignore it, deal with it right up front, because ultimately this is money that could come out of your recovery. So it's really important to make sure that you have an attorney who knows how to do lien resolution and will be on top of it from the very beginning of your lawsuit. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate that. Share it, comment, I will respond, and I'll see you next time.